Hello, everybody out there in YouTube. We are the middle-aged guys, and we bullshit about nothing. I am the Reverend.
The theme here.
Gray Mouse 1.
We're going to talk about Godzilla. Shin Godzilla. Or Godzilla Resurgence. As you may have known, if you've seen any of our previous videos, if it's not obvious, I'm a geek when it comes to Godzilla. Okay. And Toho, they had released out earlier in Japan their 29th Godzilla or Gojira movie or film that they put out. What was it, July?
Yep. No, yeah. August.
Yeah, in August.
No, you're right.
July
29th.
Yeah, July earlier this year. And if you're a stateside Gojira fan of like myself, it was kind of a bit of a waiting game where it was like, well, is this shit going to come here? Well, Funimation, they stepped up to the plate, and they're like, yes, indeed, we are going to release it out on DVD and Blu-ray later on in 2016 for everybody. But what they did afford a lot of fans was there's a limited showing of Shin Godzilla or Gojira Resurgence in many theaters out here in the States. You know, a limited showing, very limited, as in only one show a night. For the last week, and I think they're going to end up on they're going to stop showing, 18th, the Tuesday. So we had a chance to go out and watch it this morning, and I got to say, it's about what I expect. What are your initial thoughts, guys, on the movie?
Same thing, pretty much what we expected. It wasn't going to be like try to be like Hollywood and extravagant, like so many people thought. This is a Japanese Godzilla movie. So if any of you have seen the Toho versions of Godzilla before, you will understand what you're getting into.
Absolutely.
You'll understand how the movie actually progresses from that point. So, yeah, it was basically what we expected.
For me, I was lucky enough, this is the second time seeing it.
Yeah.
I actually saw it in full script Japanese, and today I actually got to see it, the American, or the subtitled version.
Yeah.
And I went into the movie with, it's a Godzilla movie, and I already know how, it has a little bit of political basis behind it, and just, so, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's the thing about the Japanese Gojira movies is that, especially if you know the history of the monster, going all the way back to 1954, the monster itself, Gojira is an analog and was used as an analog as a protest against the atomic bomb.
Yep.
Now, keeping in mind the Japanese sensibilities when it comes to storytelling, especially when it comes to their monster movies and how they've used Gojira before. When it came out that they were going to go ahead and do this particular movie, especially considering the earthquake and the nuclear disasters that they had over the last few years, I was willing to bet dollars to donuts that they were going to, in some way or shape or form, address that or make commentary on it. And there was I got to say, if you're looking for a mindless monster movie, it's not that, okay? And that comes with its own caveat, and that's a double-edged sword, all right? Because the thing is that mindless monster movies are fun, okay? With this particular one, there's a lot of political drama. A lot of
red tape.
Yeah. I mean, it was pretty much their commentary on. If you sit there and move the time back to when the big earthquake hit, and where was the nuclear reactors that had the issues?
Gosh, I wish you wouldn't have asked me that.
Yeah.
I know
that was a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
No. It was March 2011.
Yeah.
But I don't remember the location. I cannot. It's Fukushima.
Yeah. Fukushima was one of them, right?
That was actually the reactor that.
Yeah. Fukushima was one of them. There was two of them, and what happened was that the biggest complaint of a lot of people who were there at Ground Zero at Japan, especially with a lot of Japanese people, was that the prime ministers and the government, everybody, they were just way too concerned about having meetings and discussing things when they should have been in there helping people not only recover from the earthquake and the tsunami, but also try to clear things up.
Well, a lot of times too was that they didn't act fast enough, and the fact that the Japanese government was lying to the public, saying, "Oh no, there's not that much radiation in the water." And yeah, there was a lot of red tape on the news that was over there at the time, because I was in Japan at that time. Yeah. So yeah, that was one of the absolutely they added that into the movie. I mean, that was yeah. And the thing is, though, what really was interesting was that it's just how unfunctional. That's the wrong word. How dysfunctional the J-Tai is the Japanese Navy, or the Japanese Army, I'm sorry. Yeah. Was against these natural disasters. And that's what the basis of that movie was. Yeah.
Basically, because, here's the thing about Gojira, and I'm going to try not to be too big of a geek here, all right? What Toho does with Gojira, ever since he started gaining popularity as a pop culture icon,
absolutely,
in the beginning, using everything else, was that they would put out this huge batch of movies, and they'd have this long run, and then they'd go, okay, well, we're just going to go, we'll take Goji, we'll put him away.
That's one set.
Yeah, and then we'll put him away for like around a decade. Then we'll come out with another set of movies. We'll have that run for almost a decade. And then we'll put him away again. Mm-hmm. And they basically have rebooted his storyline. Actually, more than four times. Yeah. But they've got pretty much three identifiable eras. There's the Showa area, the Heisei area, era, and also the Millennial era. All right. This particular one is going to be a brand new one. Yep. If they continue with the same thing. What they usually do, though, before they actually go out of the way to decide to make another movie, is that they'll start doing like media feelers. They'll insert him into other things like TV shows or comic books or movies, and they'll see how people react. Well, along came Warner Brothers and Legendary Pictures, and they pretty much did the media work for Toho.
Yes, they did.
They released the Godzilla 2014 picture, and with all of its shortcomings, the thing was is that it was a hit worldwide, so it really proved to them, hey, look, if the Americans could go ahead and do a Godzilla and get this much money off of it, we should be able to go ahead and successfully market one too.
Like I was saying, in July 29th, when it first came out, and even before it came out, it was on everything. It was on talk shows. It was on variety shows. Mm-hmm. Variety shows are basically just where famous people do stupid stuff. Yeah, it was like variety shows, talk shows. It was in cartoons. And the build up, and then when the movie was released, it was everywhere. And they even went on the news even did a story about it on how much it blew up, because it was a.
Are you sure it was a story? Was it a story, or did Godzilla really show up and just?
No, it was an absolute hit in Japan. Yeah, it was like number one in the box office for Japan for
weeks,
months. I mean, they're still talking about it. Mm-hmm. So it was built up. I mean, Toho, I think it was the 30th, not the 29th.
No, 29th Toho movie.
Okay. Right. Yeah. But they hit it. They hit the nail on the head. On the timing was impeccable. They hit it perfectly, and they're like, yes, the world is ready for a Japanese Godzilla movie, and that's what came out of it.
All right. Before we go into too much deeper geeky stuff, a lot of other trivia that I could probably wax poetic on. Let's talk about what we liked about the movie. Theme, you go first. What did you like about the movie first?
First of all, that was a Godzilla movie.
Yes. Yes.
Listen, I'm sorry, people. I'm still washing the 1998 garbage out of my mouth from the American Godzilla that they came out with then.
Yeah.
I'm still comparing everything as far as saying, okay, did it get this? Did it get this correctly? Was it a fucking big, huge as atomic breath shooting monster? Not a huge iguana, okay? We wanted a fucking monster.
He said iguana.
No.
No, I know.
Seriously.
I know.
Fucking deformed
But
iguana.
he came, he destroyed shit. I mean, yes, they had to have the whole political thing going on. How else was you going to get a story? You use either that or some type of love story or some type of rescue going on. It had to have been something like that.
Yeah.
But it was everything that we expected it to be as far as a Godzilla movie. So, I mean, I can't take anything away from it as far as that. Yes, it was low budget. It was.
We'll touch on that in a little bit.
We're talking about likes.
Yeah, we're talking about likes right now.
Yeah, okay. But for what it was, I like the way, Godzilla kind of handled everything. He handled it like the monster that he was. Okay, as far as story, like I say, I give it a pass because of how they had to do it. But yeah, that's generally what I liked about the movie.
Yeah. What about you?
For me, I like. Wow, I like that this Godzilla was freaking colossal.
Yeah,
it's the biggest fucking Godzilla to date, and the fact that he destroyed shit. I mean, it was a Godzilla movie, and I also like some of the cheesiness in the what do you call it? In the like you said, jarring that one part.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
The Japanese actress that they had, who was supposed to be half Japanese, half American.
Yeah.
What was it? Kayoko Russell.
Kayoko, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And she had like this really. They made her talk Japanese like she was a foreigner who learned Japanese as
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's what I liked about it. How it's cheesy. It's a Godzilla movie, and I did like his atomic breath. I mean, yes, I was like, when he opened his mouth and he just let loose after he got hurt. And then what was it? I really liked the way. I mean, I didn't really think that the political parts of the movie, because a lot of people were saying that there's a lot of dry stuff. But as I was watching it, maybe because I watched it, this is the second time I watched it, but I was like, it didn't feel like it was dry to me. It felt like, there was, I knew, but maybe I expected that, and that's why it didn't feel so dry to me. So I kind of like the political parts and how they decide, get all the J-tie together and all the Air Force and everybody, and try to take this sucker down on their own. Yeah.
I mean, as far as the movie goes, there's, if you've seen our previous video on the trailer, all right, I'm obviously probably the biggest geek out of these three when it comes to Gojira, and when it comes to an actual Godzilla movie, all right, there are my checklist, my requirements are very, very small. Okay, all right, he's got to be a big
motherfucker,
big lizard. All right, got to have the spines on his back. Okay, well, he's got to be a big lizard with the spines on his back. Okay, he's got to have the atomic breath, and he's got to wreck fucking Tokyo. Okay, all right, and not just in a way where it's like, oh, hey, we've got an overgrown lizard jumping from building to building. No, he's got to wreck fucking Tokyo.
It wasn't Tokyo; it was Yokohama. He didn't get to Tokyo.
Oh, well, yeah. Every time he was heading that direction.
But he still destroyed that Yokohama, though, man.
But, yeah, so on all those points and everything, I definitely liked the movie. It hit those points. The one thing that really stuck out to me, especially as somebody who's seen all of the past Gojira movies, is that if you looked at the cast, there were so many returning cast members from other movies.
You noticed that?
Yes. In fact, even the general that they had.
He was the admiral in the 2014.
Yeah,
and then he was a general in this one.
Yeah, because he sits there and he shows up and his back is to the camera. I'm like, that voice is really familiar.
Yeah.
And it turns out it's the Admiral from the Godzilla 2014 movie. But a lot of those classic actors and everything, they reprise different roles and all of that, and they'd come back. It's almost like, how here in the States on TV they have the Law and Order like stock of cast they always get from actors in New York, right? And they show up everywhere. Well, over there in Japan, they've got the Godzilla stock of actors that they get for all the movies, and they put up all over the place. And as far as it goes, what happened within the movie and everything else, I wasn't so off put by the political drama, but I do understand with every Godzilla movie, you have to have that human factor.
Yep.
They can't get away from it. Yep. Okay. That being said, I can see how that can put people off because there was a lot of it, and that kind of brings us to what we didn't like. Okay. Before I expound on that theme, what did you not like about the movie?
There wasn't enough of the fucking monster.
Yeah.
That's become a pet peeve of Godzilla movies lately.
Yeah.
Like, we want to see more of Godzilla on the fucking screen.
But the thing with that, though, the 54 Godzilla, you didn't see much of him in the 54
That's because
as well.
that was an introduction, and they had to create some type of suspense and with people and with
that's what
interaction and so on.
And that's what this Godzilla was supposed to do.
Yeah.
Right. But I do understand that's what this movie was getting to.
Correct.
It was a rehash of the 1954 movie. So okay, fine, but I still have to have it as one of my dislikes.
Yeah. I'm not taking that away from you.
Yeah, that. As far as anything else, like I said, I'm not going to complain about the low budgetness, but that was comedy to a point.
Yeah.
It was comedy to a point because it's like, whoa, wait, what? Especially the way Godzilla was at the beginning, like basically crawling around, destroying everything, and it had to evolve into Godzilla itself.
Yep.
But as it was crawling around, destroying shit and stuff like that, and bleeding all over the fucking place, the way that monster looked, it was like, God damn, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, that was a throwback to like the 60s version of Godzilla with
the motherfuckers in Godzilla suits acting it out. I understand, but it was still something that I didn't like about it.
Yeah, it was out of place.
But there were no disconnections. Me being disconnected from a movie actually takes me out of the fucking movie. Nothing took me out as far as saying, damn, why am I still watching this?
Well, something did take us out of the movie, but that wasn't the movie's fucking problem. We'll get to that later. All right. And what about anything else that stuck out? Nothing else that stuck out is anything that you were like, eh.
As far as saying that, no, that's not right, or not, or like, what the fuck ish, or anything like that.
Yeah.
There were a couple of parts there, but I mean, not so much where, I don't know how to put it, because again, when you go to see Godzilla, what do you want to see? You want to see the fucking monster. Everything else is secondary, and if it's even secondary.
Yep.
As long as the monster is there, and as long as he's acting like the fucking monster that he's supposed to be, then everything else can get just shoved away.
Yeah.
Or pushed to the side. And that's the way I felt about that.
Yeah, I'd agree. What about you?
Oh, I can't wait till you ask me, man.
Oh, jeez.
Okay, so I got to see two versions of it, apparently.
Yeah.
The one that I saw in Japan was more full. The one that I saw tonight, I was disappointed. They cut out like 5 to 6, I would say 5 to 10 minutes of the movie. Specifically where the U.S. Comes in and drops the bombs on Godzilla's back. In the Japanese version, they actually showed Yokosuka base where the B-52s took off, and it showed, a couple more communication between the pilots and, and the ground and whatnot. That they completely showed that. They completely took that out. And then it's kind of confusing, but the way they did it was because after I pointed that out to him, it's like, well, that it still fits the way they cut it. It still fits because one of the B-2 bombers is circling back around, and they're saying this is for revenge.
Yeah,
and you're like, revenge for what? And then on the original, after they dropped the B-50 the bombs onto Godzilla's back and pierced their skin at first, and then he drops more bombs on it. What happened was Godzilla actually freaking took out the B-52, the whole squadron of the B-52s, and then the second squadron was coming in to drop more bombs on it, and they said this is for revenge. I mean, it's inconsequential, but the fact that they change, I don't know if they're doing it with time constraints, or it kind of makes you think that why aren't they showing the same version that they showed in Japan? That was the only one. So I was that was the first thing out of my mouth was like, I knew it as soon as I was like, what the fuck did they do? And that did take me out of the movie. First, I was like, wait, what? We're missing something. I think another thing too that took me out, or I didn't say completely disconnect, was like you said at the beginning, where he was like a duck, I guess, or you know, working on the land. I mean, I understand that it had to evolve.
Yeah.
And then I think the major hurt that I have was the anticlimactic ending. I mean, it was just a pan up of Godzilla's tail, and you saw those disfigured what do you call it?
Like buds or something.
Whatever on his tail, you know? And that, I was like, okay, I want more, you know?
Yeah. Let's all discuss the ending, because I think that's something that kind of sticks out, even to me. But I think my biggest gripe with the picture as a whole was that the picture, I know, is a soft reboot of the whole saga. Okay,
correct,
they're trying to go ahead and set this up so that they have something new that they can market going forward.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but the thing about it is that it was just so obvious at times that Toho didn't want to go ahead and go whole hog on the budget, so that they could sit there and clean up the CGI as best they could, or to set things up as best they could, or have as much exposure to the monster as much as they could.
I have to agree.
Yeah, because a lot of it just...
Well, they didn't know they had a hit.
Well, I think what happened, there were some points where, okay, you saw Gojira out there in the, you know, doing things and stomping around, and it looked phenomenal. Okay.
Yeah.
And then there were times where there would be these effect shots where they would have like close-ups and other things that looked bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really, really stood out as like, okay, that's a fake tank, that's a fake monster.
Well, what you know, like when he was first coming on shore,
yeah,
right, and then all that stuff, that bridge,
yeah,
because I was sitting there right there, and you kind of came out and you said, oh, that's bad CGI, just the way the damage was coming up underneath that bridge, and that bridge was snapped apart, you know, and yeah, I agree. I mean, but I understand where they're coming from, because they didn't know that they were going to have a hit. They didn't know if there were people going to be still interested. I mean, 2014 Godzilla just came out.
Yeah.
And then you got a 2016, you know, I understand why they played it safe.
Like you said, that it's something that kind of stood out to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the thing about like the talkie parts is that if you're planning to go see the movie, and hopefully we haven't spoiled a crap load of stuff, if you haven't already seen like the thousands of videos out there on the Japanese release already, okay. Yeah. But it's very, very talky. It is very talky. Japanese films, whenever it comes to like a lot of kaiju films, sometimes they fall into this this route of trying to do this high form storytelling, where they just layer a lot of exposition on top of exposition on top of exposition, and they have all these people, all these talking heads, like throwing details in all at once.
Absolutely.
And that's literally what was happening,
well,
you know, for the majority of this movie.
And see, the thing is, though, you know, that's why I wasn't really disconnected with the talkie part.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I was over there for a really long time.
Yeah.
And I kind of, you know, that's the way the Japanese is. They pretty much, in order for like let's just say this, I worked with the Japanese before, right? So when we have a group meeting, we're going to go do something. So they're not going to do anything until we sit down and have a meeting and talk to this person, this person, this person, this person, this person, and we all have inputs, and then we all, okay, we agree on this, then we go talk to the boss. That's the way Japanese economics is, and that's the way the Japanese business is run.
Yeah.
And so naturally, it's a Japanese movie, so they're going to put that in there.
But in the case of what I'm pointing out, and also for what the theme pointed out, if you're looking for the monster primarily, that is the talkie parts were overkill. Okay.
Yeah.
And let's just be honest, the biggest concern and criticism of the 2014 Legendary Pictures of Godzilla was that there wasn't enough of the monster.
Yeah.
The running time of this particular movie is similar in length, and there is even less of the monster on screen in this one. Okay, I am pretty positive.
I don't know, man. Because everybody was saying that there's actually more Godzilla on this one than the 2014.
I don't think so.
Because at the start of the movie, you saw his tail.
Yeah.
And then a little bit further in, it goes right into the Godzilla where he comes out, right? And then there's a talkie thing when he goes back.
Yeah.
Right? And then he comes out as the final form.
Yeah. But then, in the midst of everything, he just sits there and he sits in one place.
That's
not doing anything.
Yeah, okay, but he's still on the screen though.
Yeah,
he did stop. You're absolutely right. He stopped on several occasions. Yeah. You're right. And he had to re-energize or whatever.
Well, I will say to a point for the current Godzilla movie, they didn't sit there and say, "Oh, Godzilla's here. Look over here."
Yeah.
Or Godzilla's here. Close the doors.
Well, one thing
they don't do that.
One thing too is that they did not use. Usually in Godzilla movies, right? Godzilla comes onto the shore, fucks shit up, and leaves and recharges.
Yeah.
In this movie, he was actually out of the Yokohama base water or harbor for a really long time.
Yeah.
And he didn't go back and recharge and then come back again. So maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's when we reference the original movie, how little Godzilla was on screen, a big part of the reason why he wasn't on screen so much is that the most expensive part of making the movie was dealing with the guy in the rubber suit and all the fucking miniatures.
Yeah.
All right. With this particular one, considering that it's now CG Godzilla, not quite the same constraints.
Well, you know what?
But that's also where like I said, it became jarring with those particular parts that were just out of place.
You know what? Like when Godzilla full form, when that family was trying to get out of the building, that's actually a set.
Oh, okay.
It's not CG. That was actually a set where because they showed it on the variety TV on how it was made. So it's actually actors and actresses were in there, and they actually tilted the pretty much like what they did with Lord of the Rings.
No, first perspective.
Correct. And they literally were in the middle of all that when all that stuff was, of course it was foam or whatever, but it had that, they were sliding. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when Godzilla was crushing that building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I mean, a lot of it.
Yeah. I could see some of the practical effects for that, but whenever he was on screen, there was a lot of activity, like certain shots were just very, very obvious. That's all I gotta say.
Absolutely.
All right.
So